I'm going to go over the top 10 stocks within the triple Qs and show you the channel that we are in for Tuesday. The first stock is Microsoft. We ended the week at $342.33, down more than 1.5%. To the north side from where we are takes us to roughly $344.30. Above that is roughly $349.32. 354.40, and at 3 standard deviations that is roughly 357.12 and 359.52. To the south side, negative 3 standard deviations takes us to 341.62, and at negative 4 standard deviations roughly 339.08. And note the old price target of 341.24, which we have already hit. And the next target is 420. I did pick up some shares for my mom at $271.79. I personally own a lot of Microsoft. Now, I'm going to show you a couple things here as well. So there's the 420. The target, the next target on stockanalysis.com. To the south side, there are 2 gaps to be filled, starting off at 319.85, closing out at roughly 315.33, and another one right here. And that is a long ways off. We are not in that channel yet. So when we do get there, and if we do, I will definitely show it to you. The next stock is Aapl. We ended the day at 184.92, down over 0.5%. To the north side from where we are takes us to roughly 186.10, back at the middle of the trend. And to the north side of that, 187.34. To the south side at negative 3 standard deviations is roughly 184.28 and 183.68. Note the bounce here at support, a clear support line. This is support, support, support. But if you are below that, that also turns into resistance. And up here, you can see a clear sell-off here and here and here at resistance. This is a form of resistance, resistance, and another line of resistance. All right, the RSI is at 46. The next stock is Nvda. It's had quite a run. I do not own Nvda. I do own MU, TSM, Intel, and AMD. Nvda is the only stock I did not get into in terms of the semiconductors. All right, we ended the week at 426.92. To the north side from where we are takes us to resistance, although it is a form of support depending upon where you are, as I just mentioned. To the north side of that is 429, 432.33. The middle of the trend takes us back to 439.27. And at 2 standard deviations, that is roughly 446.06. On TradingView, the 1-year price target is $444.76, which would take us to roughly 3 standard deviations, but we are a ways away from there. And to the south side, at negative 4 standard deviations, we are looking at roughly 425.43. I do anticipate a bounce because we are at support. And note there is a gap to the south side at roughly $417 and closes out at 395.09. But again, we are not in that channel. And this right here is an old price target that we have already met at $400. And here at 421.21. The next stock is Amazon. We ended the week at 125.49. To the north side from where we are takes us back to the middle of the trend, and also in this case a form of resistance since we are down here. This will be a resistance level to bust through. That is 126.25. And to the north side of that is 127.20, 127.68. The 1 year price target is at 137.23, which represents a 9.35% return from where we are right now. And should we make it to 4 standard deviations, that would be roughly 128.13. To the south side, 125.31, 124.84, and roughly 124.36. Again, there is a gap to the south side starting at about 122.26 and closes out at 121.49, but we are not in that channel yet. The next stock is Meta. To the north side from where we are takes us to roughly 285.33 and 290.21. And there was this line that I had marked out at 292.25, which is an old price target, but that would take us to roughly 3 standard deviations if we were to get there. And that is actually 292.68, and at 4 standard deviations, roughly 294.94. To the south side, -2 standard deviations is 280.50, 278.14, and 275.83. If we make it down here, I do anticipate a bounce at support, and we will probably see some consolidation here as well. Let me show you the 1 year price target. It's all the way up here at $350. We have already busted through at 268.61. So that is something to look forward to should we make it up there. And to the downside, a couple of gaps, beginning at 236.83, closing out at 209.85, and then there's a smaller one right here at roughly 235, closes out at 233.78. We are not in that channel, but I just wanted to point that out to you. At some point, I'm sure we will close that out, but that's a long ways off. Tesla is another one I'm going to go over in the triple Qs. My dad trades this one as a day trader. All right, we are at 260.54, up more than 1.8% to the north side. Takes us to 2 standard deviations and a form of resistance at 264.05, 266.10, and 268.19. To the south side, the middle of the trend takes us back down to 259.77, also a form of support, 255.59, 253.60. A gap forms to the south side at 252.51. -4 standard deviations is roughly 251.48. And the gap closes out at 249.95. Another gap forms to the south side at 246.37, closes out at roughly 235.22. We are not in that channel just yet. And the 1 year price target on Tesla is now on the high side, which is 335 on stockanalysis.com. We have already busted through the average forecast of 213.46. We are a long ways off, but I just wanted to show you that. And note also the 2 gaps that have already closed to the south side at 244.70 and 234.86. I do love playing gaps. and pointing them out, obviously. The next one is Google. We are right here. Ended the week at 123.53, down more than 1%. And to the north side from where we are is roughly 124.36, 125.50, 126.09, and 126.67. To the south side at -2 standard deviations takes us to roughly 123.22. -3 standard deviations, 122.64, 122.07. Note a gap that forms at roughly 121.95 and closes out at 121.35. This is an old price target of 131. That is the current price target of 131.25, which represents a 6% return on your money from where we are. This is an old price target as well as this line. This was also an old price target. I've got a few of them marked up. The next one, I'm not going to do GOOG, is Broadcom. I'm going to go over, and my neighbor traded this one and he made some money off of that and he got out. All right, we ended the week at 368.11, down 1.73%. To the north side from where we are takes us to roughly 873.08. The middle of the trend takes us to 886.85. The 1-year price target on TradingView is 891.19. And to the north side of that at 2 standard deviations is roughly 901.01. This is a level of resistance and a clear sell indicator for me, along with this area and this area. And note a clear form of a bounce back at support here and here and here. There is a gap to the south side at 810.60, closes out at roughly 804.74, but we are not in that channel yet. And finally, the last one is Pepsi. We ended the week at 186.04, and to the north side of that is -2 standard deviations, which is very close, and that is roughly 186.15. The middle of the trend takes us back to roughly 187.41 and 188.65 at 2 standard deviations, and 189.32, 189.90. Now note the gap to the north side that starts at roughly 191.39. It developed way back here, roughly on May 19th. All right. The 1-year price target on TradingView is $201.29. Of course, it's going to go up and down and spit you out and make you nauseous and want to sell, but that is the target, and it's going to obviously be painful getting there, as every stock is. And there is a gap to the south side at 183.60, closes out at roughly 183.16. All right, that does it for me for a look at the top 10 stocks within the triple Qs. If there is a stock that you would like me to go over, please let me know. And also let me know if you like these longer format videos where I talk about more stocks within either a fund or just a bunch of them versus an individual stock or an ETF. All right, have a great week, everyone.